and it's hard to get used to, and people might look at you, I don't care. Like, if people think, what the fuck's he doing? I couldn't care less. Like, it helps me get the most out of my set. So don't be afraid to train hard. Don't be afraid to pull faces. Like, if your legs aren't growing, but you finish a set and you're like, oh, that was difficult. It wasn't. Like, you'll know if it was difficult because you won't be able to speak or get out of the machine straight after. That was a bit of a rant. Yes guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. We are here at UltraFlex Derby. Again, probably the best gym around for legs. Today is legs, so fantastic. So Wednesday, the 10th of April. I've just done like a little update reel in terms of where I'm at now. So it's like about 5.5 months post show now. And as I said in the update, like training's going really well, feeling really good. So today's session is legs. I've got Reese, and then Reese has got his client Conran training with us as well. And basically like the main sort of topic throughout the video is just going to be potential reasons that your legs might not be growing. So when it comes to clients who obviously want to make as much progress as possible, often they might be sort of asking questions as to how can I progress at a faster rate? Why are my legs not growing? Why is this area not growing? Generally it's the same, like the same concept across every body part, but I would argue that with legs there's maybe a couple of things that are quite common mistakes that I'll see. So we'll go through those throughout the videos, and I'll sort of go through the main things that I focus on to improve my legs. My legs are still a weaker body part of mine, but they definitely have come on a hell of a lot. I'll have to like find some old photos and I'll put like a comparison up, maybe for the thumbnail as well. But yeah, like that'll be the main sort of topic behind the video, is like, why are your legs not growing? How can you improve your leg training to drive that growth? So yeah, sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let's get into it. First exercise is going to be abs. I always start my leg sessions with abs, just because it's very easy to neglect them if you do them at the end. And I also find that if I get a bit of blood flow to my midsection and get my abs and my core a bit warmer, it always helps with my bracing through the rest of the session. So start off with abs, and then on to calves, and then we'll just crack on from there. My bladder's empty now, so I can train abs effectively. Right guys, so first movement, or first two movements, got the cable ab crunch and then the Atlantis ab coaster. So one movement where I'm crunching my ribs down towards my hips, and then one where I'm crunching my hips up towards my ribs. So one that's going to be predominantly a little bit more upper ab dominant, one that's going to be a little bit more lower ab dominant. They're both going to just train the abs. They're both nice movements, feel good. Progress them like you would anything else. Like you'll see, like I'm doing an ab crunch, I'm chasing down the stack on an ab crunch, but I'm doing so with good form. Like I'm getting a really good connection, I get a crazy stretch on it. I much prefer a kneeling ab crunch rather than a standing, because on a lot of cables you do a standing ab crunch and the top of the cable isn't high enough, so you're trying to get a stretch and it kind of stops here, you hit the top of the cable. So if you're kneeling down, not only do you get more stability through the floor, but you also get a real intense stretch at the top of the rep. Even on the ab coaster, at the bottom of every rep I'm searching to feel like a deep stretch in my abs, like it actually hurts at the bottom. That's when I know that I've like got them really well lengthened, and then I'm engaging from there and I'm curling my hips up. I'm not just swinging my legs up and down and using my hip flexors. So on your ab work, like actually search for a connection like you should anything else, but then progress from there. And especially search for a real good stretch so you can actually feel that stretch before you then initiate and crunch down or curl up. Oh, all the LPs on that last set. So I do like, the first set's like a moderate set. I always find like I get the best connection on the first set when my calves are freshest, and then I always find it harder to really get a good connection on the second and third set. So I do like a moderate set, which is always the best set, Then I do a lighter set, which I'll still get a decent connection, but not amazing. And then I do a heavy third set, which is predominantly LPs, so I can't get it fully short because it's too heavy for me. Now I'm going to do the weird tibialis thing again. Really, really hard movement that. Really exciting movement. Don't even put that in the video, mate. It's embarrassing. I'm doing tibialis raises. Yeah, to be fair, it's quite nice as a superset in between. They don't have a tibialis machine, so I just do it like that. Feels nice.
Always first at the finish line. First to the plate when it's dinner time. First to escape when this shit goes down and these motherfucking clowns.
So I do 3 sets on here. First 2 sets on cam 5, which is the mid to lengthen. But even on this, like, it's still very hard to get short. And then the final set on cam 3, where it does drop off a decent amount more. All kind of similar rep range, like all kind of similar load as well. The second set I'll go a little bit lighter than that, and then the third set will be similar, but obviously, like I say, it just drops off a bit more. And I've actually got hamstring curls 3 times a week now, so I have a posterior day on Monday, which is like predominantly back, but with a bit of glutes and hamstrings. I've added in a hip hinge, just having to be careful with my back, but seems to be okay at the minute. And then a couple of sets of ham curls on that day, a few sets of ham curls on this day, and then the Saturday leg session, I have a few more sets of hamstring curls. I find because I wouldn't say they're drastically weak in my physique from the side shots, but from the rear shots they are. Like my hamstrings, they need a lot more muscle. And because they're not that strong, I can recover really quickly. Like my hamstrings are never sore for more than a day, so it makes sense to just train them more frequently. Right guys, so 2 sets on the Gym Leco leg extension. Really, really nice leg extension, drops off really nicely. So you'll always be able to grind through like a few more reps than you would initially expect. Seat belt on just to help keep the hips a little bit more stable. I have the back pad all the way back, so I mean less hip flexion. So if you're sat on a leg extension and you're sat like this, you're already shortening the quad at the hip. So you're almost reducing the range of motion before you've even started. And also you're in a stronger position when your quads are more lengthened. So not only can you use more weight, you're also getting a little bit more out of the set anyway. Back pad all the way back. Starting point for the input pad as far back as possible. So trying to maximize range of motion at the hip and at the knee. So minimal hip flexion, so you're sat like this, maximal knee flexion. And then obviously the goal is to try and get the rep fully short every single rep. And like I say, on this specific machine, same with if you're doing like a prime and you're loading it in the mid to lengthened, stay with it because you'll be able to get more reps than you think. You'll be able to grind through a few more. 2, 1. Good. And again, come on. Up. Yes, good babe. Come on. All that. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Yeah. Go again. Come on. Come on. Pull yourself in. Pull yourself in. Yeah. Good. One. Straight back down. Straight back down. Come on. Come on then. Come on. Yeah. Good. Go ahead. So guys, I'm putting the mercurials on. I used to have Nike ID mercurials with F.Kelly 17. Tells you how much of a baller I was. These aren't mercurials. These are Nike Savalios. I quite like using them on linear leg presses, hack or pendulum squats, and I also like it on the hip press. I'm not a huge fan of them on the squat press. I tried them for a couple of weeks on the squat press and they were okay, but I feel better barefoot or just in socks on the squat press.
Roller coaster ride. Roller coaster ride, this one.
Just give me a lift off, yeah? 2, 1.
Come on.
Oh.
And again. Yeah. Go again. Come on. Move them up. Good. Go again. Come on. Brace and go, mate. Come on. Good. Come on. Come on, go again. Back down, mate. Come off it.
So, my sister is in a band and I play her music while I'm doing my sets. It's like a screamo kind of band. So I've just got my sister screaming in my ear. Quite good. Oh yeah. We've got a raging boner, but you can't see because it's small. No, you won't be able to see it, mate. It's full on, biggest it's ever been, but you won't see it.
Got me a bit excited, that one.
No, that was good, really good.
I thought I was the only one who had one.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Find that with this, like, because when you fully extend, like, it just drops off so much. You really got to limit the time at lockout, like, just get into that next rep as quickly as you can. Same with, like, most movements, most like presses, whether it be a leg press, a chest press, a shoulder press, like, if you're just spending loads of time when the joint's fully extended and you're just stacking the load against your joints, you're just resting. So if you're doing a leg press and it's like 4 reps, 5 reps, and you're spending 10, 15 seconds between every rep, you're just gonna accumulate a shit ton of fatigue. It's probably gonna feel shit. Your joints are gonna hurt. So like with that was like 16 reps. And only on the last few was I taking those pauses. And even then I was like getting to the next rep like as quickly as I can. To just basically make it feel a lot harder, get more out of it, rather than it just feeling like it absolutely takes your soul. Whew. Hi guys, I've done Cybex squat press 2 sets, Gymleco hip press 2 sets. Generally, like, my quad volume in this session is pretty high. So obviously I spoke at the start of the video about like potential reasons that your legs might not be growing, and like if we look through the session, so the first movements, obviously like calves, abs, that's just, I do that at the start because I'm battered now, like I'm not going to perform those well at the end. But like the hamstring curl, as I said, I'm doing hamstring work 3 times a week because they recover well. So like training frequency, yeah, like are you actually training your legs enough? Some people will train legs once a week and then wonder why they're not growing, but they're recovered within 2 days. And it's like, there you go. If you train legs like an absolute maniac and it takes you 6 days to recover, then sound, train legs once a week. It works for some people if you've got a load of volume in that session and that's how you enjoy training. But like for me, I can train legs twice. I can even put some hamstrings in on a 3rd day because they recover really quickly. Then you're looking at volume, like the amount of times that I'll see people doing like top set, back off set, or just 1 set. Like, oh, I've got like a leg session, it's just 6 sets. It's like 2 sets of ham curl, 1 set of hack, 1 set of leg press, 2 sets of adductor, doing 2 plates on a hack. That's why you're not growing. Like, you're not going to benefit from doing that until you've learned to train really, really hard and until you're really, really strong. Like, even look at like me and Reese in this session. Like, Reese is doing a lot of volume in this session and his legs have grown a lot, his quads have grown a lot. You know, I've been there in the past where I've been doing just like 1 set on a hack, 1 set on a leg press, pretty much just battering myself, doing weight that I have no right doing, and wondering why my legs didn't grow. And my legs didn't hurt within a session or after a session. I could walk downstairs fine, but my back hurt because I was doing too much weight on a hack or whatever it may be. So volume, don't be afraid to actually do probably more volume than you might think. And also, on the other side of that, if you are really fucking strong and you find that you're doing a 2nd set on a leg press and it just feels like the quality's shit, or a 2nd set on a hack, or a 2nd set on anything, 3rd set, 4th set, and the quality's shit, then don't be afraid to reduce volume as well. Again, the stronger that you get and the higher level that you sort of train at, you're probably going to require a little bit less volume over time. So yeah, 2 sets on both of those. Squat press is obviously really, really hard to get it fully short. And then the hip press, we've got it loaded on the top pin, so it's harder in that lengthened range. And then that's pretty much my quad work done. If my quads feel like I could do a bit more at the end, I'll do a single leg extension, but I just assess that as I go. So obviously now on to the booty builder, 2 sets on this. first set on the stack with like a 1 second pause both ends. And the second set I quite like a higher rep, so a little bit lighter, a little bit more continuous. Annoyingly, like my left side just doesn't fire as well. So like it does feel as though I'm getting a lot more out of the right side. But it still feels okay. So that high rep set is just like a bit of a pump kind of set to get a lot of blood flow to the glutes. Like the first set is, if you like, a strength set, and that set's more like a metabolic stress kind of set. I do find that the higher rep sets on that, they do feel a lot better. Find it easier to connect well with my glutes. This is what I was saying, like if I feel like I can do more on my quads, I will, but I'm not going to. So I would have done the same thing as I'm doing now on a leg extension. So basically just a single leg, relatively low rep set, and then just as many partials as I can. So like I think I got 7 full reps there, and then I got like 13, 14 partials, and then into a stretch. So I'll hold in that stretch for like 30 seconds. Again, if my quads feel okay, I would do it on there, but they don't, they feel horrendous. So obviously, as I've said like through the video, areas or certain factors as to why you're not growing. The overwhelming one would just be effort. Like you probably, hopefully you've seen from this session that the effort is quite high, and you know, you'll see we're taking force reps, we're getting ourselves mentally switched on for the set, making sure that we're not leaving anything on the table. Like for me, like if I finish a set and I think, oh, I didn't really push myself, or I could have got more there, like I hate that feeling. Like I just feel weak. I feel like I've let myself down, and I know I don't want to feel like that after a set or after a session. I don't want to leave the gym feeling like I've let myself down in any way on any set. Couldn't care less what weight you're moving. The weight you're moving isn't the effort that you're putting in. The weight you're moving is the total load or the intensity of load. Like for me, it's more about like, have you actually performed at your absolute best? Have you performed with high level of accuracy, high level of quality, and have you given it your all? And if you have, like, couldn't care less if you're doing 1 plate on a leg press or 8 plates. Like, it's about the effort that you're putting in. So, you know, effort, and as well as that, like your breathing and your bracing comes into that heavily. So you can't really train hard if you can't breathe properly or brace properly. Like you'll leave so many reps on the table. Like if your breathing and bracing is inefficient, like you're probably gonna think that you're at failure, but you're probably at like 4 or 5 reps in reserve. So that is something that you really need to focus on. If you're feeling like you're finishing a set and you're like, oh, died out a bit early there, or you're getting headaches a lot, probably because you're not getting enough air in. You're probably constantly in an oxygen debt while you're training, and ultimately that's going to massively disrupt like your ability to take your legs, or any body part, but especially legs, close to, you know, actual mechanical failure or task failure, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, breathing and bracing. Yeah, the way I explain it to my clients is on the eccentric, the first half. So the first half of the negative part of the rep. So the first half the way down on a leg press. Get as much air in as you can, like it's your last breath you're ever going to take. For the second half, brace as hard as you can, like your life depends on it. Yeah, like you're about to be in an airplane crash. Brace as hard as you possibly can, and then keep that brace as you press and get through the hardest part, and breathe out as you get towards the top of the concentric, the positive, and then just repeat that cycle. And it's hard to get used to, and people might look at you, like if you look at my breathing and brace on a leg press, I'm literally like, I don't care. Like people think, what the fuck's he doing? I couldn't care less. Like it helps me get the most out of my set. So don't be afraid to train hard. Don't be afraid to pull faces. Like if your legs aren't growing, but you finish a set and you're like, oh, that was difficult. It wasn't. Like you'll know if it was difficult because you won't be able to speak or get out of the machine straight after. That was a bit of a rant. Right guys, so that is a wrap. Basically, as I said, like the main, as you can see, I'm pretty trash. Like the main thing when it comes to leg training is most people just don't train hard enough to see the growth that they maybe want to see. So as I said at the start of the video, like main variables, main things that may be slowing down your leg progress, I would say number 1 would be you're just probably not training hard enough. Number 2 would be execution, and like I said, with breathing and bracing, that kind of comes down into both. Like, you're not training hard enough, you're trying to train harder, but your accuracy is horrendous because your breathing and bracing is not very good. Your range of motion, you know, if you look at my leg pressing, my leg extension, like, I'm trying to maximize knee flexion, get as much range as I possibly can. That's one thing that I feel like people do miss out on a lot when it comes, especially when it comes to quad training, like half repping everything. Again, the quad needs to get fully lengthened or get into as much of a lengthened position as you can to get more challenge, create more torque at the knee. So that would be another one. And then, like I said, frequency and volume, they kind of work hand in hand. Obviously, if you're doing less frequency, you're probably going to have more volume session by session. If you're doing more frequency, you're going to have less volume session by session. So my direct hamstring work in this session was 3 sets of the prone ham and 1 of the seated ham single leg. You could argue there's a little bit of hamstring involvement on the booty builder, but that's because I train my hamstring 3 times a week. I only train my quads twice a week, so they have a little bit more volume session by session. They take a little bit longer to recover because they're a little bit stronger than my hamstrings and I put more load through them. So it's kind of finding that balance as well. But yeah, I will leave it there. Thank you, as always, for watching. I appreciate any new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe. Also, if you're not following the Once You're In podcast, please do head over to that channel. Check us out on Spotify as well. Give us a rating on Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. We're doing show reviews, multiple shows a week. Any new subscribers over there, as well as here, massively appreciated. So thank you as always, and I'll catch you in the next one.